What's up, guys? David Medowar here. Let's talk about 3 dating tips that frankly suck and things you can actually do that are a much better way to go. The number one tip that you probably have heard from a lot of dating advice out there is play games, play hard to get. Get somebody to really chase you, to be interested in you. And it sounds good. You know, the whole cat and mouse chase can be fun. But if you have to play these games to get somebody to invest in you, then think about who you're attracting into your life. At the end of the day, we always get a mirror back of the energy that we're putting out there. If we're putting out there an energy that we don't want to show ourselves and we want to put these walls up, well, then guess what? We're going to get that back in return. So it's not really a good way to go, because now you're being a fraud and you're attracting somebody where, had you been your original self, you don't know if they would be a good fit for you. And now you're stuck in this relationship, constantly on your toes, having to play all these games to, quote, keep them staying interested in you. The next thing you've probably heard is don't commit. And it's understandable, because sometimes you might not be in a place in your life where a relationship will work for you. But if everybody is simply saying just don't commit, there's a bigger issue, because we're in a different day and age now where it's all about quick gratification and no strings attached. But just because society is doing this, it doesn't mean that it's good for us in the long term. It leads to a lot of issues. Because if you don't commit and you're not allowing somebody to be in your life, then what happens is you might meet your future spouse, but because you weren't willing to let them in, now they're walking away and they're going to be with somebody else. So that's something to think about. The other thing that you may have heard is, especially after a breakup, to just go and find yourself, go on all these dates, meet and date tons of people. You know, we're in a mass hookup culture right now. And people are hurt. They've had a breakup, they've had a divorce, and they're trying to get back on their feet, try and figure out what they like. It's understandable. But there are risks that come with it. For one, just like the previous point, there could be a timing issue where you meet somebody that would actually be a really good fit for you. But now you're stuck in this mindset of, I'm just here to have fun. And you might now lose that person for good. If we're just settling for fun all the time, then when you think you're ready to actually commit to somebody, it's going to be a lot harder to appreciate what you have versus always wondering if the grass is greener. So this is one of those things where less can actually be a lot more for your future self. Oh, and by the way, if you haven't already, feel free to hit that like button and subscribe. I'm trying to grow this new channel, so all of this is really appreciated. Thanks, guys. So now let's talk about 3 better things you can do. And I want you to stick around, because I'm also going to give you a bonus tip. So for the first one, which is playing hard to get, I want you to go on these dates with the mindset of, if I show a part of me that's authentic and real, is this person going to like me for who I am? And so if you go on those dates and you've got some personality quirks, show it. If there are things about you that aren't, quote, perfect, share it. Because if somebody is going to penalize you for showing the real you, then why do you want to spend your life with them? It's a real good question to ask yourself. For the second point, where we were talking about never committing, maybe for somebody like yourself, not being in a relationship is okay. There's no yes or no answer here that fits every shoe. But it's something to ask yourself, because if you are going on these dates and you have no intention of committing, there are a couple of challenges. For one, no matter how much you want to just stick to friends with benefits, there's always a possibility that either you or the other person thinks they are going into this with no strings attached, and then all of a sudden feelings develop, and now it's a complicated situation. The other thing too is, what if you're going on these dates, somebody may seem like they're okay just hanging out, but they're actually looking for a partner, and they're trying not to tiptoe around you, because they have a feeling that if they show that they want to invest in you, that they might scare you away. And also ask yourself, if you're not in a place to even date right now, then why go on dates? And if you're not willing to commit, is it something from your past relationships? Maybe you're afraid of commitment, or maybe you're just settling and going out with people you're not really that into, and you haven't yet met somebody awesome where you really would want to commit. And finally, when it comes to talking about just going out and having fun, especially after breakups, think about what it can do for you in the long term. Just because this is something that's accepted right now and everybody's, quote, doing it, it doesn't mean that it benefits us. The more often you're going on these dates and just settling for fun and just going and hanging out with people just purely off looks, purely off attraction, and not asking those harder questions such as, do we have the same values in common? Do we get along? Then what's going to happen, right, is you're going to meet somebody who's actually a really good fit for you, and now you're actually jaded for the wrong reasons. See, a lot of times people will go on all these dates and they'll keep going out and having fun because they feel jaded. They were in a very long-term relationship. Maybe they didn't, quote, have freedom. And now they're thinking, oh, I have myself back. I can go and do whatever I want. But you can burn out from that too. Because just because you're going out and having fun and you just have this intention to just hang out with people, it doesn't mean that you're not going to meet people and you guys are just going to get on each other's nerves and it's going to have a really bad breakup. It can cause you a lot of pain. So I'm glad you stuck around because I have a fourth and final bonus tip, which is going to be that you want to ask yourself when you go on these dates if somebody's good for you. Because if you don't think they would be good for you, you guys wouldn't be a good fit, you don't share the same values, you enjoy their voice, enjoy talking to them, conversation flows, really then ask yourself, why am I even wanting to date this person? Because I can tell you right now that when it comes to just being attracted to somebody, that can get old really fast if you didn't do your homework and figure out if this person should even be in your life to begin with.